Here you see one of the main screens in Race Chrono. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to previous sessions, click on that. Here you can see a list of previous sessions that have been recorded using the software and the GPS phone. So right, I'm going to go to the AFM 650 production race where I got the fast lap of 2:03.08 and take a look at some of that detail. So I'll highlight it and then click on lap times. So the lap times here, you can see I've actually divided the lap up into 6 different sectors, and you can see the times for each sector. The fastest lap was a 2:03.8, but at the top there you'll see the optimum lap, which is actually 2:03.2. So I went faster in there's a couple of sectors where I could have went faster, but I didn't. So that's why the lap time was a little bit different. So I want to highlight that and take a look at my fastest lap time. So I click on it, come down to the bottom and go to open details, and here you can see a map of the track, and I can actually move it around. I can zoom in and out so I get it to the right scale where I want to be, and then those points on the map for the sectors where I actually walk the track and we put those sectors in are actually showed up in the time between. What I really like about this is the fact that you can open a graph and then scroll around the whole thing. What you see, the graph at the bottom, the vertical axis is in miles per hour. As you can see, 40, 60, 80, 100 and 120, and then from left to right is the distance in miles as we go around the track. The red line in the center that you can see here represents the position on the track, and as I start to move the graph to the left, you can see in the bottom left hand corner down here the speed at which we're going for that particular point. And then you can see we're coming towards turn 1, we're on brake in turn 1. That little blip that you see there is actually a gear change as you go down. That's how accurate this thing is. Then on the maintenance throttle going around 1, you can see I'm a little bit wobbly, and you come out of 1, start accelerating towards 2, all the way towards the braking marker for 2, and then onto the heavy brakes as you go around into 2, and then keeping the speed around 2. I really don't know what happened here. I must have blipped the throttle or something to get some speed coming out of the exit of 2 before I drive smoothly towards 3, and the braking marker just at the 2 board as we go into turn 3. Speed decreases, and then you got the nice and smooth, pretty smooth as you go along. Start to increase the speed as you go around the corner in 3 towards turn 4. The increase in speed as you pop towards 4, slow down a little as we go around 4, then accelerate as you go up the hill towards 5, hit the braking marker, and then really hard braking as you come all the way down, and the lowest speed at the top of the hill as we turns about 36.9, 37 miles an hour. Coming down the hill to the right, you can see the gear shift right here, and then continue to smoothly apply the throttle as you go around towards 6. Another gear change up towards the braking marker as I go in towards 6. And if you look at the top of the screen, what I'm now going to do is hit the plus button, and then you can see the little red arrow is actually the position of the bike on the track. So I can hit minus again and then continue along as I hit the braking marker, turn in towards 6, slowing down, go around. It's not quite as smooth in there as it could be. Start to get on the gas again, smooth acceleration curve, gear change here in the 5th for me on the SV. Continue accelerating around 7, lean it over, my turning marker or braking marker for 8, and on brake just roll off the throttle slightly, come in, hit that little bump at the bottom, then start to accelerate again as I go all the way up the hill towards the braking marker for turn 9, which is probably around the 3 or the 2 board depending on how you brake into that corner. So brake in, ready to turn in, go around 9, accelerate over the hill, down the hill towards 10, increasing the speed all the way up to a maximum speed for me on the SV of 114 before I start to brake as we go into 10. And you can see right down here where I change gear again just before, in fact that might just be coming off the brake slightly, so I'm actually mid corner by then, and start to accelerate, blip again on the throttle towards 11, slow down again, coming all the way down to about 44 miles an hour for the entry to 11. 11 through 12, gear change here, whip through, coming out of 13 or around 13, about to go in the exit, gear change again for me, smooth throttle and acceleration all the way through, change gears just before the bridge, and then continue all the way under the bridge and then start to brake when I hit the braking marker and roll off the throttle. Coming down, it's smooth enough here, it doesn't really show you the gear shifts down, and then you come into 14 at about, let's say 45 miles an hour for me. Come around there, gear shift in the middle, which is another one of the midpoints I have, right before the midpoint, and then start to accelerate out around 15 and continue that all the way down the straight. And we can continue that till you can see my terminal velocity before I start to slow down is 125.2 on this particular lap, 125.3 actually, 254, 25.5. So I'm right around 125.5 before I start to roll off before the start finish line. Even though I think I'm past the start finish line, this is actually showing me that I'm not. Now the great thing about this is I can go back and then I can actually do a comparison against another lap. So I can compare it to my optimal lap, or I can compare it to another lap. So I'm going to compare it to another lap, and I'm going to go to Sunday practice, and I'm going to pick one of my slow laps. So let's do the 209.3. And then I'm going to open the graph. Now you can see we have two lines on the graph, and you can see the differences between the fast time, which is in the lighter color, and the slower time, which is in the darker color. You can see the line below, so you can really start to see the differences in the lap times and where I was just generally slower for that lap, and it's obvious all the way through this particular lap. As we go through, you can see that the darker line is constantly below. There's a couple of places around the back of 7 there where it's the same, because that's about as fast as I can go around there. But if you look at it coming into 9, I was way slower coming into 9 on the slow lap than I was. I mean, the differential's about 10 miles an hour. And you can see that right here. On the bottom left hand corner, you can see I came in on the slow lap at 60.3 miles an hour, and on the fast lap I came in at 67 miles an hour. So this is the type of data that you can get really easily with this software, and you need the phone and GPS setup, and we can do that pretty easily for you. You can match it up with video and do a lot of other great things with it. And if we come at the end of the straight, let's see, yeah, I was a good 5 or 6 miles an hour slower on the slow lap. So let's take that back to the exit of turn 14-15 and see what the terminal velocity was coming out of there. So let's say it's about the exit to 15 there. So I was a good 3 or 4 miles an hour slower on the slow lap coming out of 15 than I was on the fast lap, which makes a huge difference when you get to the end of the straight. So that kind of concludes the first intro to the race chrono, and if people have any questions, feel free to get in touch with me on BARF or via email. Thanks.